What if the number one habit, protecting your prostate, takes just 30 seconds and 90% of men over 60 are doing the exact opposite every single day? Hello, gentlemen. I'm Dr. William Lee, a physician and scientist with over a decade of research into how lifestyle choices drive or prevent disease. I've spent my career studying how the body heals itself and how men over 60 can avoid prostate surgery and reclaim their quality of life through the power of daily habits. Today, I'm revealing 5 daily habits that can prevent 70% of prostate problems before they even start, and I'm ranking them from surprising to absolutely life-changing. Here's what shocked me when I first examined the research. By age 70, over 80% of men have enlarged prostates. 80%. But studies consistently show that men who practice these 5 specific habits experience 70% fewer symptoms. Same age, same genetics, completely different outcomes. The difference? 5 simple daily choices that most men overlook entirely. Before we dive in, I want you to hit that like button right now. Comment below where you're watching from. I genuinely love hearing from this community, and subscribe so you never miss science-backed strategies that could save you from years of unnecessary suffering. Please stay with me until habit number 1, because it's the most powerful thing you can do starting tonight. It costs nothing, takes seconds, and the results are remarkable. Now let's get into the science. Listen carefully, because I need you to understand something critical. Your prostate is under biological attack every single day, and most men have absolutely no idea. By the time you reach 60, your prostate has been producing fluid for 4 decades straight. It's been exposed to decades of chronic inflammation, hormonal fluctuations, poor circulation, and cumulative cellular damage. This isn't something that happens overnight. It's been building for years, silently beneath the surface. That's exactly why benign prostatic hyperplasia, which is the medical term for prostate enlargement, affects over 50% of men by age 60. And by age 70, that number climbs to a staggering 80%. The symptoms that come with it can absolutely destroy your quality of life in ways that men who haven't experienced them simply cannot understand. I'm talking about waking up 3 to 5 times every single night just to urinate. Imagine never getting a full night's sleep again. I'm talking about a weak stream that takes forever to empty your bladder, leaving you standing there frustrated and embarrassed. Constant urgency that forces you to plan your entire life around bathroom locations. The embarrassment of avoiding travel, social events, even time with your grandchildren, because you're terrified of not finding a bathroom in time. But here's what most physicians won't tell you. And I say this as someone who has dedicated his career to understanding how the body heals and how disease develops at the cellular level. This progression is not inevitable. It doesn't have to be your story. Research from Japan, analyzing nationwide health data, found that healthy lifestyle habits can prevent or dramatically delay prostate problems in the majority of men. The 5 habits I'm sharing with you today aren't random wellness tips. They target the actual biological mechanisms causing prostate damage, chronic inflammation, poor pelvic circulation, hormonal imbalance, cellular oxidation, and mechanical pressure on the gland itself. Let me tell you about one of my patients. He was 68 years old, a retired engineer, and he came to see me looking exhausted and completely defeated. He was waking up 6 times every single night to urinate. 6 times. His quality of life had collapsed. He told me he hadn't slept more than 2 hours straight in over a year. His marriage was strained. He'd stopped traveling. He felt like an old man trapped in his own body, unable to recognize who he had become. After implementing these 5 habits for just 3 months, gentlemen, 3 months, he was down to 1 nighttime bathroom trip. 1. He sat across from me with tears in his eyes and said, "Dr. Lai, I got my life back. I thought this was just what aging meant. I thought I had to accept it." You don't have to accept it. These habits work. They work because they address root biological causes, not just surface level symptoms. Now let me show you exactly what they are. If you're ready to protect your prostate and take control of your health, hit that like button right now. Let's begin. Habit number 5, walk 30 minutes daily. No excuses. Most men think walking is just for heart health. Maybe it helps with weight management or keeps your joints loose. They're missing the bigger picture entirely. Walking is one of the most powerful prostate protectors available to you, and it costs absolutely nothing. A landmark 2024 study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine tracked thousands of men over multiple years. The researchers found that men whose cardiovascular fitness improved by just 3% annually were 35% less likely to develop prostate cancer compared to men whose fitness declined. 35% risk reduction from walking. Let me explain why this works on a biological level. Because understanding the mechanism is what keeps you motivated and consistent. Walking reduces chronic inflammation throughout your entire body, including in your prostate tissue. Chronic inflammation is one of the primary biological drivers of prostate enlargement and cellular damage. When you walk regularly, you're literally cooling that inflammatory fire at the cellular level. This is the same mechanism behind many of the dietary interventions I've written about extensively, and it applies equally powerfully to daily movement. Walking also dramatically improves blood circulation to your pelvic region. Better circulation means more oxygen and nutrients reaching your prostate, while waste products and inflammatory compounds are efficiently cleared away. Think of it as giving your prostate a daily biological cleanse, flushing out the damaging compounds that accumulate when circulation is poor. Additionally, walking helps you maintain a healthy body weight, and obesity directly accelerates prostate enlargement through hormonal mechanisms I'll explain in just a moment. Finally, walking reduces cortisol and other stress hormones that aggravate prostate symptoms and increase urinary urgency. Harvard researchers tracked over 30,000 men for years in one of the largest longitudinal studies of its kind. Men who walked regularly had significantly fewer prostate symptoms than sedentary men. Even moderate intensity walking, not running, not intense gym sessions, yielded substantial, measurable biological benefits. The data is clear and consistent. Here's the exact protocol I give my patients, 30 minutes daily, every single day. You can do one continuous 30-minute walk, or you can break it into 3 10-minute walks spread throughout the day. Maintain a moderate pace where you can hold a conversation, but feel your heart rate increase slightly. No gym required, no special equipment, no expensive personal trainers, just consistent, deliberate daily movement. That is the science-backed answer. One of my patients was 67 years old and had been completely sedentary for over a decade. Desk job followed by retirement on the couch. His prostate symptoms were severe. 5 nighttime bathroom trips, a weak and hesitant urinary stream. Constant urgency that controlled every decision he made throughout the day. After committing to 30 minutes of walking daily for just 8 weeks, his nighttime trips dropped from 5 to 2. His urinary stream improved noticeably. He told me he felt energized and optimistic for the first time in years. Walking 30 minutes daily is non-negotiable if you're serious about prostate health. But the next 4 habits are even more powerful. Comment below right now. Are you currently walking daily? Be honest with yourself. Honesty is always the first step toward change. Habit number 4, Limit alcohol to 3 drinks weekly maximum. This one surprises many of my patients because they've heard that moderate drinking is perfectly fine, maybe even beneficial for cardiovascular health. Here's the scientific truth that I share with every man over 60 who comes to see me. After 60, even moderate drinking can significantly aggravate prostate problems, and the data on this is unambiguous. Research from Japan analyzing comprehensive nationwide health data showed that avoiding excessive alcohol consumption was critical for preventing prostate enlargement. But here's what the detailed analysis revealed. Even what most people consider moderate drinking after age 60 can worsen your prostate health in measurable ways. Here's the biological mechanism. Alcohol increases systemic inflammation throughout your body, including directly in prostate tissue. It disrupts your delicate hormonal balance, suppressing testosterone while elevating estrogen levels. This hormonal disruption accelerates prostate cell growth and enlargement at a measurable rate. Alcohol also directly irritates the bladder and exacerbates urinary symptoms, making urgency and frequency significantly worse from the very first drink of the evening. The specific threshold I recommend, based on the available evidence, is 3 to 4 drinks maximum for the entire week, not per day, for the whole week. This is a distinction that matters enormously and that most men completely misunderstand. Spread those drinks across different days. Never consume more than 2 drinks in a single sitting. Ideally, maintain 1 to 2 alcohol-free days between any drinking occasion. For reference, 1 standard drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or 5 ounces of spirits. Most men dramatically underestimate their actual consumption when they are not tracking it carefully and honestly. One of my patients was drinking 4 to 5 drinks nightly, a habit he had maintained for decades. He considered it his well-earned reward after a long day. His prostate symptoms were significant: constant urgency, a weak and unreliable urinary stream, bathroom trips throughout the night. His wife was sleeping in a separate room because his constant movement kept her awake and disrupted her own rest. After cutting his consumption to 3 drinks weekly total, his symptoms began improving within 4 weeks. By 8 weeks, his nighttime bathroom trips had dropped from 6 to 2. He looked at me during his follow-up appointment and said, "Doctor, I thought alcohol was helping me unwind. I had no idea it was actively damaging my prostate every single night for years. Limit alcohol to 3 drinks weekly maximum. Your prostate will begin responding within weeks." I've seen this pattern repeat consistently in patient after patient. Now stay with me, because the top 3 habits are absolute game changers. Habit number 3, eat cooked tomatoes 3 times weekly. This specific food has the strongest research evidence for prostate protection of any dietary intervention I am aware of, and most men are not consuming nearly enough of it. As someone who has spent years studying how specific food compounds interact with the body's disease, fighting and healing systems, tomatoes hold a particularly powerful place in the evidence base. Tomatoes contain lycopene, a powerful antioxidant compound that directly protects prostate cells from oxidative damage and may even slow abnormal cell growth. But here is the critical biological detail that most people don't know. Cooked tomatoes provide far more bioavailable lycopene than raw tomatoes. The cooking process breaks down the plant cell walls, releasing lycopene in a form your body can actually absorb and put to work. Raw tomatoes are healthy, absolutely, but for prostate protection specifically. Cooked tomatoes are dramatically more effective, and the science on this is consistent. Multiple peer-reviewed studies have demonstrated impressive results. Research found that men who ate cooked tomatoes just twice weekly had a 28% lower risk of prostate cancer compared to men who rarely consumed them. Other studies found that higher lycopene intake was associated with reduced prostate enlargement and slower disease progression over time. 28% risk reduction from eating tomatoes. When I review data like that as a scientist, it genuinely excites me about the power of food as medicine. Here's the exact protocol. Consume 3 servings of cooked tomatoes weekly. This can include tomato sauce on pasta, marinara sauce, tomato-based soups, roasted tomatoes, or tomatoes cooked into stews and curries. Adding olive oil to your cooked tomatoes increases lycopene absorption even further because lycopene is fat-soluble and olive oil provides the ideal biological delivery mechanism. 1 serving equals approximately half a cup of tomato sauce or 1 cup of cooked tomatoes. This is not difficult to achieve. It's delicious, affordable, and backed by compelling science you can act on today. One of my patients incorporated tomato-based meals 3 times weekly as I recommended. He also added cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, which contain sulforaphane, another compound with well-documented prostate health benefits, and began snacking on pumpkin seeds, which are rich in zinc and beneficial plant compounds that support prostate function. After 6 months, his SA levels dropped from borderline high back into the normal range. His urologist was genuinely impressed by the improvements achieved through diet alone, without any medication changes. Eat cooked tomatoes 3 times weekly. This is one of the most powerful dietary interventions available for prostate health, and it is something you can begin implementing this week, starting with your very next meal. But habits 2 and 1 are even more critical. Keep watching. Habit number 2, maintain a healthy weight. Lose 10% if you're currently overweight. This habit goes far beyond prostate health. It affects your cardiovascular system, your metabolic function, your energy levels, and your overall longevity. But let me be very specific about the prostate connection, because the research here is both compelling and deeply concerning for men who are carrying excess weight. Obesity doesn't just raise prostate cancer risk in general terms. Studies have found that obesity is associated with more aggressive disease forms and significantly higher mortality rates from prostate cancer. A comprehensive 2022 study found direct measurable connections between waist circumference, sedentary behavior, visceral belly fat, and enlarged prostate size. The relationship was linear and consistent across the data. The more belly fat you carry, the faster and larger your prostate grows. That is not an association you can afford to ignore. Here's the precise hormonal mechanism driving this. Excess body fat, especially visceral abdominal fat, is not simply inactive storage tissue sitting harmlessly beneath the skin. It is metabolically active and biologically disruptive. It dramatically increases systemic inflammation throughout your entire body. It disrupts your hormonal balance in particularly damaging ways, raising estrogen and insulin levels while suppressing testosterone production. This hormonal imbalance accelerates prostate enlargement, increases cancer risk, and worsens urinary symptoms simultaneously. The science here is unambiguous and consistently replicated across studies. But here's the genuinely encouraging part, and I want you to really absorb this message because it matters. Losing just 10% of your body weight can significantly improve prostate health outcomes. You don't need to become an athlete. You don't need to achieve some idealized weight from 3 decades ago. Just 10% makes a measurable, clinically significant biological difference, and that is entirely achievable for any man who commits to it. The sustainable approach I recommend focuses on portion control rather than restrictive dieting, which research consistently shows is not maintainable over time. Reduce your portions by 20 to 25% at every meal. Use smaller plates, a simple psychological strategy that genuinely works according to behavioral science research. Stop eating when you're 80% full, not when you're stuffed and uncomfortable. Focus your diet on vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, whole grains, and healthy fats from sources like nuts, fatty fish, and olive oil. Limit red meat consumption. Avoid processed foods, and minimize added sugars. Combine this dietary approach with your daily 30-minute walk, and you create a sustainable compounding system of gradual weight loss without the extreme restriction that inevitably fails. Small, consistent changes build large, lasting results. That is the science of behavior change applied directly to prostate protection. One of my patients weighed 240 pounds when he first came to see me at age 62. His prostate was significantly enlarged on examination, and his symptoms were severe. He was miserable and felt completely out of control of his own health. After losing 25 pounds over 6 months through portion control and daily walking, his symptoms improved dramatically. His follow-up examination showed a measurable reduction in actual prostate size. He sat across from me and said, "Dr. Lai, I had no idea my weight was affecting my prostate this directly. I thought these were two completely unrelated problems. They are never unrelated. Your body is an integrated biological system. Maintain a healthy weight through sensible, sustainable portion control. If you're currently overweight, commit to losing just 10%. Your prostate will respond, and so will every other system in your body." Now, habit number 1 is the most powerful thing you can do, and you can begin tonight. This is the insight that has fundamentally transformed how I approach patient conversations about prostate health and prevention. Hit that like button if you're still with me. Habit number 1, never hold your urine. Respond immediately. This is the single fastest way to damage your prostate. And here's what deeply concerns me as a physician and scientist. 90% of men over 60 do this multiple times daily without any awareness of the harm they are causing to their own bodies, day after day, year after year. Let me explain the precise biological mechanism, because this is a case where understanding the science makes the solution completely impossible to ignore. When you hold your urine, your bladder becomes overfull and distended beyond its intended capacity. That overfilled bladder physically presses directly onto your prostate, which sits immediately below it in your pelvic anatomy. This constant mechanical pressure causes direct irritation, triggers chronic localized inflammation, and produces swelling of the prostate tissue. Your bladder muscles progressively weaken from repeated overdistension, eventually losing their ability to contract efficiently and completely. This is the biological origin of the weak urinary stream that so many men simply attribute to aging. It is not just aging, it is often preventable cumulative mechanical damage. Stagnant urine sitting in an overfull bladder also creates a bacterial breeding environment and a pro-inflammatory chemical environment that damages surrounding tissues over months and years of daily repetition. Research confirms that timely voiding, responding promptly when you first feel the urge to urinate, prevents bladder overdistension and reduces pressure on the prostate, preventing the long-term cumulative damage that most men incorrectly attribute entirely to genetics or unavoidable age-related changes. But most men completely ignore this biological signal. They hold it during meetings because they don't want to appear weak or disrupt their professional image. They hold it during errands because stopping feels inconvenient in the moment. They hold it while driving because they don't want to make an extra stop. They hold it watching television because the couch is comfortable and the game is on. Every single time they are causing measurable biological damage to their prostate without any awareness that this is happening to them. The fix is both immediate and powerful. Respond immediately. When you feel the urge to urinate, go. Don't delay for 5 more minutes. Don't wait until the commercial break ends. Don't try to finish one more paragraph, one more email, or one more task. Go immediately. Honor your body's biological signals rather than overriding them for convenience. Plan your day with bathroom access in mind. Know where facilities are located when you're traveling or moving through unfamiliar environments. If you're anticipating situations where bathroom access will be limited, manage your fluid intake slightly beforehand rather than holding urine for hours afterward. Prevention is always the more intelligent biological strategy than damage control after the fact. One of my patients was 64 years old and routinely held his urine for hours during his demanding work schedule. He was a busy attorney who genuinely felt he could not step away from depositions and client meetings. He developed severe urgency, a progressively weakening urinary stream, and eventually found he could not fully empty his bladder even when he tried. When I explained the precise biological mechanism of how holding urine damages both the prostate and bladder musculature over time, and he committed to responding immediately to his body's urges, his symptoms improved dramatically within just 6 weeks. He sat across from me at his follow-up appointment and said, "Dr. Lai, I genuinely had no idea that holding it was causing this level of damage. I thought I was being disciplined and productive. This one change fixed everything. Never hold your urine." This single habit protects your prostate more powerfully than almost anything else you can do starting today. It is habit number 1 because it is simultaneously the most impactful, the easiest to implement with 0 cost, and it begins protecting your prostate immediately. You can start tonight, the moment you finish watching this video. Your complete implementation system let me give you the exact framework to implement all 5 habits beginning today, tonight, immediately. Habit 1, starting right now, from this moment forward. Respond immediately every single time you feel the urge to urinate. Never hold it. This begins before you close this video. Habit 5, starting tomorrow morning, walk 30 minutes. Set a non-negotiable daily appointment with yourself. Put it in your calendar. Treat it with the same seriousness you give a medical appointment, because in every meaningful sense, it is one. Habit 2, tomorrow at breakfast, reduce your portion by 20%. Use a smaller plate. Begin building this sustainable daily habit immediately. Habit 4, this week, track your alcohol consumption honestly. Write it down. Cut it to 3 drinks maximum for the entire week. No exceptions. Honesty with yourself is the foundation of every successful health change. Habit 3. This week, buy tomatoes, tomato sauce, or marinara. Plan 3 tomato-based meals and prepare them. This is the simplest, most delicious dietary upgrade you can make for your prostate. Track your results carefully. Week 1. Note how many times you wake up nightly to urinate. This is your biological baseline measurement. Weeks 2 through 4, continue tracking consistently. Most of my patients begin noticing measurable improvements within 2 to 4 weeks. The biology responds quickly when the inputs change and the damaging habits are removed. Weeks 6 through 8, symptoms should improve by 40 to 60% for most men. Nighttime bathroom trips decrease noticeably. Stream strength improves. Urgency reduces significantly. Quality of life begins to return. Additional evidence-based recommendations. Quit smoking completely if you currently smoke. Smoking significantly worsens prostate health through multiple biological mechanisms, including severely impaired circulation and dramatically increased oxidative stress throughout pelvic tissues. Get annual prostate screening beginning at age 60. Early detection allows lifestyle intervention before medication or surgery become necessary. Manage stress deliberately through meditation, meaningful physical activity, and deliberate daily relaxation. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which aggravates urinary symptoms and promotes the systemic inflammation that damages prostate tissue. One of my patients implemented all 5 habits systematically, exactly as I've outlined here. At his 6-month follow-up, his prostate size had stabilized rather than continuing to enlarge, which is the typical unchecked pattern without lifestyle intervention. His symptoms had improved by over 60%. His quality of life was dramatically and measurably better. He told me, "Dr. Lai, these 5 simple habits gave me my life back. I avoided surgery. I sleep through the night again. I can travel again. I feel like myself for the first time in years. This system works when practiced with genuine consistency. I've seen it work for patient after patient, and the science tells us clearly and repeatedly why it works." Final thoughts. Here's what I want you to carry with you from this conversation today. By age 70, 80% of men have enlarged prostates. That is the statistical biological reality of male aging. But enlargement does not have to mean suffering. It does not have to mean surgery. It does not have to mean surrendering your quality of life to a condition that is, in large part, preventable and modifiable. The 5 habits that protect your prostate after 60 ranked from important to absolutely critical. Number 5, walk 30 minutes daily. Number 4, limit alcohol to 3 drinks weekly. Number 3, eat cooked tomatoes 3 times weekly. Number 2, maintain a healthy weight through sustainable portion control. Number 1, never hold your urine. Respond immediately. Research confirms that these lifestyle habits can prevent or dramatically delay prostate problems. Men who practice them consistently experience 70% fewer symptoms than men who don't. 70%. That is not a marginal improvement. That is an entirely different quality of life, measured in sleep, in freedom, in confidence, and in years of vitality. These are not complicated medical interventions requiring specialists and expensive treatments. They are simple, science-backed daily choices that you control completely, beginning tonight. Starting tonight, implement habit number 1. Never hold your urine. Tomorrow, add the daily walk. This week, add the others one by one. Within 3 months, you will have built a complete prostate protection system. You will have taken control of your health in a way that the majority of men never do. If this video helped you today, hit that like button right now. Comment below and tell me which habit surprised you most. I read every comment. And subscribe for more science-backed strategies designed for men over 60 who refuse to accept decline as inevitable. I'm Dr. William Lee. Prostate problems are not your destiny. Your daily habits are. You have more control over your biological future than you may realize. Protect your prostate starting tonight.